mother alligator pushes leaves, sticks, and mud together. Dark clouds block the sun as lightning flashes and thunder booms. The alligator shapes the pile into a mound for her nest. When the moon rises, the mother climbs on top of the nest. She digs into it with her back legs and lays her eggs, burying them. The eggs are kept warm by the heat produced from the rotting plants. In July and August, the mother guards her nest. In September, she hears a chirping sound. Her babies are hatching and call her to dig them out. She claws the nest. As the babies crawl out of the eggs, she gathers them in her mouth and carries them to the lake. She makes many trips. One baby alligator is late. It breaks out of its egg and chirps, but its mother is too far away to hear. Then the hatchling is lifted into the air. A young woman holds the alligator closely behind its head so it cannot turn and bite.
Well, little one, what are you doing here?
The woman holds a clipboard under her left arm.
I can see your net. That's a lot of eggs. This marsh must be working. In the 1940s, a canal was dug to drain the land. A few years ago, it was filled in. Now water covers the pasture where cattle once grazed. You were born in a Polk County park named after the old ranch, the Circle B Bar Reserve.
The baby alligator stops wiggling.
I can see your mother's tracks. I guess she forgot you, so I'll carry you.
The woman starts walking. Her boots slurp in the wet ooze.
I'll bet you're wondering about me, aren't you? My job is to count whatever wildlife I see. Around the lake are other cattle ranches and orange groves, even some houses. More houses are being built every day. Lake Hancock is one of the most polluted lakes in Florida, but it's getting better.
Near the lakeshore, the woman stops. She stretches out her arm.
There's your mother, see?
Then she pulls the baby alligator near again.
I don't want you to get close enough to meet your mother, but I'm happy we met. Your scientific name is Alligator Mississippiensis, but I'll call you Missy for short. Bye, Missy.
On the ground, Missy scoots towards her mother. Hi, I'm Carole Mahler, author of Adventures in the Charlotte Harbor Watershed. Today, I'm at the television studios of the school district of Lee County, and with me today is Kayton Nedza.
Hi, I'm from the Hardy County Outdoor Classroom, and we teach about environmental education to a lot of kids in the county there, and I'm here to talk to y'all today about alligators. Now, we're going to start off with a little alligator. Alligators are reptiles. They are cold-blooded, so the sun and air temperatures adjust their body's heat. Yes, sir. They lay eggs in a nest, and if the temperature is hot, the eggs are going to be males. If the temperature is cold, the eggs is going to turn out to be females. Well, little alligators are black and yellow stripes, and that helps them blend into the shade and the murky water. They're about this big when they're hatched out of those eggs. Many animals like to eat baby alligators, including raccoons, otters, herons, snakes, fish, and other alligators. Babies stay with their mother for the first year or two so she can protect them. On land, an alligator can run very fast. Some people say as fast as a racehorse for a short distance. So you make sure you stay a long ways away from alligators.
Thanks for reading that, Kayton. And now tell me, have you ever seen a nest or some baby alligators?
Oh, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. We see a nest every once in a while, and we had some baby alligators. Now, don't you go out and get any baby alligators because that's illegal, unless you got a permit to have them. But one thing about the baby alligator is if you take a baby alligator about so big and you put it there in an aquarium, and you keep it in that aquarium in a room that's kind of cold, about 2 years later, you can come back and that alligator's still going to be about that big. It's not going to grow up any.
Now, why is that?
Well, I don't truthfully know the answer to that, ma'am, but that'd be something for you guys to go out there and search on the internet, and maybe if you still got one of them things called a book, maybe you could look it up in that.
Thanks for being with me today, Kayton. I really enjoyed it.
Well, I really appreciate you inviting me to come down here and talk to these kids.
In the lake, the baby alligators crowd around their mother. Two other mothers with their babies join the pod. The pod may stay together for as long as 2 years. The babies eat tadpoles and minnows. They learn to catch snails, dragonflies, and frogs. Near shore, Missy floats. Only her snout and the top of her back show. She feels the water moving as a fish swims by. It shimmers. She lunges with open jaws, but the fish darts away. As Missy chases it, she swims into the lake. Watching the fish, Missy doesn't see the osprey's shadow. The bird dives and seizes her in its talons. They soar into the sky. Suddenly, Missy can see the tops of oaks and cypresses. The lake shrinks into a shape as round as a possum curled up. Peace River is its tail. But between the body and the tail is a dam. The osprey tightens its grip, yet none of its talons pierce Missy. Shrill cries ring in the air. As the osprey dips toward the lake, an eagle swoops toward them with talons outstretched. The osprey turns and dives lower over the dam. Its cries are harsh and shrill. The eagle calls out. It circles and flies toward them to attack. Above the river, the osprey releases Missy. It turns with talons up and open to meet the attacker. The sound of their screeches echo in the rushing wind as Missy falls. Splash! She slowly sinks to the bottom of the river and stays under until the osprey and eagle have flown away. Then she glides along the sandy river bottom. Hi, I'm Carole Mahler, author of Adventures in the Charlotte Harbor Watershed. I'm at the television studios of the School District of Lee County today, and with me is Rick Tully.
Hi, and I'm here today representing the Environmental Education Program of the School District of Lee County. And what I would like to do is read a selection that was contributed by Diane Heron.
Great.
Dams by Diane Heron, Polk Environmental Education Resource Center. If trees fall where a creek is narrow, the water will puddle up. The fallen tree stops the flow until the water can find its way around or over the tree as it tries to move downward. Water in a higher place always tries to find its way to a lower place. That's why creeks and rivers flow. They are moving downward, even if the land doesn't seem to slope. If the flow of water is stopped or reduced, then everything that depended on it downstream has to either adapt to less water, move away, or die. Behind the dam, everything has to survive in more water. Water is so important that sometimes people build dams to store water.
Thanks for reading that, Rick. And I wanted to ask you, have you ever seen one of those natural dams that Diane talks about?
Yes, in almost all of our cypress strands or cypress flowways here in South Florida, there are natural low rises that puddle up water into ponds. And so in our cypress strands, you'll periodically see a pond, shallow water, another deeper pond, shallow water, and it moves that way. When people first moved here, one of the first things that they did, and we did for 100 years or so, was attempt to drain out as much of the land as possible. And that provided us with great places to build, but it also dried up some of our aquifers. And so we've learned since then that we need to try to reintroduce some of those natural systems. So a lot of the dams that we have put in over the years have been in an attempt to recreate the natural condition and the natural flow of water in South Florida.
Thanks, Rick, and thanks for being with me here today.
It's been a pleasure.
Hi, I'm Carole Mahler, author of Adventures in the Charlotte Harbor Watershed. Today, I'm at the television studios of the school district of Lee County, and with me is Rick Tully.
Hi, I'm with the Environmental Education Program of the School District of Lee County, and I would like today to read some text written by Curtis Porterfield, who is with the Polk County Natural Resources Division. He wrote about Lake Hancock Dam. Lake Hancock is a 4,500 acre lake in Bartow. A dam called the P11 controls the water level in the lake. Water released from the lake begins the Peace River. The dam does not allow animals traveling up the river to go any further by water. When the gates of the dam are open, some small animals in the lake may go into the river. Over the years, the lake has collected a lot of pollutants from wastewater treatment plants. Some say the lake water released into the river may be polluting the river itself.
Thanks for reading that, Rick, and I wondered if you could explain to me how lake water could pollute a river.
Well, in this particular case, there are several cities around this lake. And in years past, those cities collected sewage from the homes and treated it. Sometimes that treatment was not as good as what we're doing today, and that poorly treated water would get into the lake, settle into the muds, and be accumulated in those muds. Now, as we release water from the lake, sometimes that mud gets churned up, and those old pollutants that have accumulated are released into the river and pollute the river.
Now, some people have said maybe it would be a good idea not to have that dam.
If the dam were removed, then all of those nutrients and pollutants that are tied up in the mud would release further into the river. But on the other hand, once that was cleaned out, then animals could move back and forth. A more natural system would remain. It's just a matter of how we balance what we need today with our watershed.
Thank you so much for talking with me today. I've really enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Carole Mahler, author of Adventures in the Charlotte Harbor Watershed. Today, I'm at the television studios of the School District of Lee County, and with me today is Kayton Nedza.
Thank you, Carol. I'm glad I could come and talk to y'all kids today. I was going to be talking to you about phosphate this time. Phosphate is a very, very important element. All of us have phosphate in our bodies. You may not know it, but it's there. Phosphate is the chemical element phosphorus. It's essential to life. It's in all living things. Millions of years ago, this part of Florida was the bottom of the ocean. Currents caused the growth of many plants and animals, such as sharks, stingrays, whales, and dugongs. That's an animal like a manatee. As these plants and animals died, their remains drifted to the bottom, and the phosphorus that was in their bodies turned into phosphate. Do you know when they found phosphate here in Florida? You don't know? Okay, well, it was in the 1800s, in the late 1800s, down around Arcadia in DeSoto County, they found phosphate. And pretty soon, about 100 different companies were mining phosphate. The people started mining phosphate to make fertilizer. Today, this area produces 75% of the phosphate used in the United States and 25% of the phosphate used in the world to grow foods. Now, when they first started mining phosphate, they mined it right out of the river bottom using boats called dredges. Then what they did was that they put it on barges, which is big boats that would carry the phosphate down the river, down to Charlotte Harbor. Then they would take it across Charlotte Harbor and out into the Gulf of Mexico, where they put it on big ocean-going ships and ship it all around the world. Today they do strip mining. Now, strip mining is where they take the dirt off of the land, they dig up the phosphate, Then when they get done with it, they reclaim the land to a useful purpose by pushing all the big mining cuts full of dirt and covering them up and planting plants on them or putting lakes in those areas or other things. And we'll talk more about that a little bit later.
Thanks, Kayton. And now tell me, have you ever seen any evidence of that old mining that they did in the river?
The most evidence of the old mining that you see today is as you canoe down the river in different places, you might find in the bottom of it something known as a phosphate barge. See, they were great big wooden boats that were like about 36 feet long and about 12 to 14 feet wide and only a couple of feet deep like that. And when they got finished using the barges, which was around the 1915 time frame, then they started taking the phosphate and they started putting it on railroad cars. And they started sending it over to Tampa Bay and over to other parts of Tampa Bay, putting it on ships over there. But in between times, they sent it by a rail car all the way down to Boca Grande. And they built phosphate docks at Boca Grande, and they had big ships come into Charlotte Harbor because they dredged out that shallow part of the sandbar that kept those big ships from coming in during the 1800s. Yeah, so if you go down to Pioneer Park in Haughty County, and you walk upstream a little bit away from where the boat ramp is there, you can find what's left of a phosphate barge that was used back during the 1800s.
That is really cool. And I know that there's also another phosphate barge in Arcadia up in the Opera House. So you can go there and see that too. Well, Kayton, thanks for being with me today and talking with me.
All right, Carol, thank you for inviting me here. And thanks for you guys coming along and making this so much more fun.
Missy is an easy target on the white sand of the riverbank. So she crawls under a large branch in the water to hide. Hours after sunset, the moon rises. The light wakes Missy. It seems bright enough to be the sun, but it does not warm her. She stays in the river because the water is warmer than the night air. A barred owl asks, "Whirr!" The crickets chirp. The owl asks again, "Whirr!" Another owl hoots. Soon they cackle at each other, their voices echoing across the night air. Then Missy hears movement. Soon she smells a raccoon. It is on the branch she is hiding under. The raccoon's weight has shifted the branch, and Missy is caught. The branch sinks deeper into the water. Then the twigs push her to the sandy river bottom. Even underwater, Missy can hear the raccoon grab for a fish. Again and again, Missy feels the same motion. When the raccoon catches something, the sounds change. Although she is trapped, she is also safe from the raccoon. At last, the raccoon leaves, and Missy is free.
For free classroom materials, please visit our website at www.chnep.org.